Hello everyone, Average Joe coming at you today from my car. Today I'm going to be going over my latest hammock hack, I guess you want to call it, is how to hang a hammock inside of your car. I spent some time working out of my car, got to where the driver's seat was starting to get uncomfortable, so figured I'd make a nice little hack on how to hang and enjoy my day. I've had a couple people see it and ask me about it, so this one especially goes out to you, Ryan. Hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great time on the Smokies. And without further ado, let's go over how to hang this thing. Okay, so to go over the supplies we will need for today's project, I have my regular cheap Amazon hammock. Webbing suspension I use, as long as it's got one loop at the end. I've got this and the continuous line, which we'll be using too, and this all from a dutchware site. You can make your regular daisy chains that you get with your normal hammocks that you get online too. You can make that chain work with just a ground stake, but we'll go into that a little bit. You're going to need 2 washers, and you'll see why in a bit too, and then a socket wrench so we can get the bolts out. And also, fold your seats down. Of course, the headrest portion, you'll be able to find a lot of videos online about how to remove your headrests. The Chevy's actually a very interesting one. There was some cursing involved, so we're not showing you that film. But first things first, we're going to start by taking off that little booger. So with mine, I hang mine from the bolts behind the handle. These handles do not hold that much weight. They're great in a small situation where someone's cut you off and you've got to swerve out of the way. But we're actually going to hang off the bolt behind this. And you can see where I've had mine hanging for a while now. And the reason we do this is because the bolt itself bolts into a high strength pillar that runs behind here. Now you'll also notice that the airbag runs underneath this, so that having the loop here will not compromise the deployment of an airbag if it should deploy. And this goes without saying, don't have your hammock hanging while you're driving down the road. So to start off, we're going to get behind this. Just take these back. Use a little flathead screwdriver. I just happen to have a pick set. And a little life hack, you can actually use these and press down, and this will hold the handle back, so we'll be able to access our bolts. Now I'm going to set the camera down so I can do this with 2 hands. For the purposes of this one, this model, we use an 8mm socket wrench. I'm just going to do this by hand so you're not drowned out by the sound of a socket wrench going. Take out bolts. Some of these handles have some clips behind them that help hold them into the A-pillar. You'll see that in just a second. Some of them are just bolted in. So if we pull back, you'll see you have teeth that hold them in. Those come in handy a little bit. Sometimes they get in the way though. So we're going to take this, and we're going to put our washers behind here and go from there. Now to show you the science behind this, we're going to take our washers, which you can get from any Lowe's, any Walmart, or anywhere. We're going to slide the washer over the head of the bolt, so when it sits behind this, the rope actually hangs off the washer. And the reason we're adding a washer is it helps give a little bit of extra grip to that rope. Otherwise you would just be hanging on to the bolt head, which you could get a grip, but getting a washer just adds a little bit of an extra grip. And the reason we're doing for both of them is just to help disperse the weight load. We're actually going to hook our clip off of this right here. Okay, so you see I've got my washers, my bolts ready to go in. This is going to be tricky. Get them in a little bit, and you want to pull on this just to make sure you've got the tension and you've got the rope behind the washer. Apply some tension. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. There. So push our little clips back in, and this rope can sit here. It's not compromising any of the airbag components. And you can see it holds off the washer weight of the bolt into the panel, rather than there's no load whatsoever on the handle itself. So let's go set up the back side. Okay, so we're back here at the hinge of the liftgate assembly, and you just take your webbing and run it through the loop, just like you were hanging it off of a tree. Just cinch it down, and we're going to run it over this weather strip piece. Now, just from my personal experience, I've had some torrential rains where the webbing itself will get wet. You can easily take this down if you're happening to driving through a rainstorm. I normally just leave mine hanging all the time. Doesn't cause any major leaks into the vehicle. Like I said, it just mainly saturates the webbing and comes across. So, and then we're going to hook up a marlin spike hitch right here to the bottom. So just like you're going to hang a hammock off of a tree, we're going to do the marlin spike hitch. And I try to normally get my spike as tall as I can, as close to the top as I can, because when you do lay in it, it does give you a little bit of a pull. So we're going to do our loop, cross, run our spike through. Okay, so if we pan over here to our other webbing, you can see just like you would do, it would run it through the top just like the other one would as well. And you can use a ground stake or anything that you have that's similar. A branch will work, honestly, and you can do a marlin spike hitch as well. So either one of these will work if you don't want to go out and spend the money on a little titanium spike. I mean, we're not really trying to save weight because we're in a car, but I just find it a lot easier and a lot handier. So we'll take the back of, pan the camera over. Right, so we'll take the back end of my hammock, and because this is an 11-foot hammock, I had to shorten it a bit. Now when you do shorten it, I do advise just making a little knot in your hammock. It's a $20 hammock. I'm not worried about damaging it in any way. But when you use this loop like I do to hang this, when you put your weight, it can cause it to, it'll pull the hammock. So this knot with this loop right here will keep it from pulling and causing you to slide down. So we'll just hang it on the back end, and we'll move over and hang the front end. Okay, so you can see our back end's hanging off the line back there. I have my loop here on the front. I just happen to have a bunch of these dutchware clips. I could not recommend Dutch's stuff enough, but for this purpose, I'm going to use a dutchware clip. You can also use a regular D-clip, binder, whatever you want to call them. So we're just going to come it up. We're just going to hook it onto our loop. There you go. And we'll get in the back and test it out. Okay, so I don't have much room for moving the camera around back here. As you can see, it's hanging up on the end. I'm going to pull my hammock aside. And there you go. So this is handy if you're like me and you work several hours at a time in your car. you get tired of working in just the front seat, you can just hang this up, or if you're on a long road trip and you want to take a nap, this is perfect. Get your little camping pillow, inflate it, put it behind here, and you're good to go. And like I said before, do this at your own risk. As you can see, I've got plenty of room to swing over, so I'm not resting on this. And this is why you want to take the headrest out, because when you fold the seat back, that headrest can still poke you. And there are several videos. Just Google, say 2017 Ford Escape headrest removal. There's plenty of guys out there that have videos that walk you through that. So other than that, if you got any questions, by all means, post below, shoot me an email. Would love to hear from you. And if you got any modifications that you've personally done that you enjoy out of this, I'd love to hear them too. Always looking to improve. So thank you, everybody.